I know everyone has been wondering why they haven't seen any new videos. I am new, so it has taken a little time for me to adjust and get everything together, but I think we're ready now. So today, I'm going to show you how I use chalk paint and change the look of my china cabinet. Let's get started. Okay guys, so here's my unpainted china cabinet. You can see it's loaded with stuff, but in the middle I've already started taking a lot of the items out. So I just wanted you to see it before I painted it. I am going to use a chalk paint and I will show you how I do it as I go through the process. So now that I have everything out, the next thing I have to do is I'm going to have to take off the hardware. And really it's easy to do. It's just a few screws and I'll unscrew them. And I was trying to decide, at first I was thinking that I was going to go and look for new hardware. But then I thought about it. I just might paint this hardware. So you'll see, I just take a couple of screws out. I'll put the screws back in so that I can keep up with them. If I don't use the same hardware, depending on the screws that I choose, because you see there's two holes. You can see that there's two holes for each side, two screws. Depending on the hardware I choose, I might have to use some wood filler. If not, I just might spray paint these and reuse them, because the idea for me, the idea is to redo, I don't know if you can see my dog. Of course my dog is walking into the video. It's going to be kind of hard for me to ever do a video without a dog in it because I have 4. They think that they are like the most popular people in the house, which they probably are. But anyway, the idea is to do this renovation and use as little money as possible. Now, the hardware isn't really expensive. I mean, you can find some that's expensive. If I find some that I like that's reasonable, I'll buy it. If not, like I said, I'll just spray paint this. And you guys will get a chance to see the change, the renovation, or the chalk paint. So I'm going to finish removing the screws. Then I'm going to clean all the dust. And the only thing I'm using to clean it, I have some water in here and a towel. And I poured some multi-purpose vinegar. I guess you guys can see that. Multi-purpose vinegar in the water. And that is what I will be using to clean the dust. So you guys see, I did a little more prep. Originally, I wasn't going to put the painter's tape around the glass, but as I looked at it, I thought about it, and I am an amateur painter. I'm not perfect at this. I have done it several times, so I have learned a few things as I've gone through this, but I decided to go ahead and put the painter's tape around. It took me about 5 minutes to do each window, each glass pane. And that way when I paint, I know I won't get any paint on the glass, and it just will make things look a lot nicer. I mean, I'm trying to get it as neat as I possibly can. One other thing I did that I forgot to mention to you guys, the other thing I did is when I cleaned out the drawers and the little cabinet sides there, I got a container. I went in my basement, I found a container that was empty, and I filled it with all the stuff that came out of my china cabinet. And believe me, it was quite a bit. What I'm going to do in between painting layers, I'm going to go through those things and I'm going to throw away what I can throw away. I'm going to try to put it in sections, what I can keep, what I'm going to keep. And the things that go inside the china cabinet, in the drawers, I'm going to organize and I'm going to put them in there. We'll see how things turn out. Okay guys, so this container contains everything that came out of my china cabinet, all the drawers and everything. And as you can see, there was a bunch of stuff that was more like a catch-all drawer. But my plan is to get organized. So while I am painting my china cabinet, in between layers, I will go through this container and I will throw away what I can throw away. I will keep what will go back in my china cabinet, and I will determine where the other items go. I'm trying to put things where they belong. I'm trying to decorate and organize at the same time. We will see what I end up with after I go through the container. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to clean it. I have prepped it, and I'm going to wipe. Oh shoot. Something you gotta learn before you take that last little handle off. So you see I have to use a screwdriver here. And when you take the last handle off, make sure you've wiped everything. So, wipe everything off like so. So I'm going to finish wiping this down, and then I'll go ahead and I'll start painting, and I'll bring you guys along on that part. So guys, the paint I'm using is by Behr. I like Behr paint. Of course, there's other companies that make chalk paint. There's Annie Sloan. I believe Valspar makes a chalk paint. There's several different companies. You can look around. I think you can even get chalk paint at Home Depot as well. But I bought Behr, and I got it, not Home Depot. I bought this at Home Depot. Walmart is where I think you can also buy chalk paint. But I got this at Home Depot. Original price is $20. And I think I got it on sale for $13. So I bought several of these. The color I am using is called Warm Marshmallow. And I really like Warm Marshmallow because it's a white color, but it's not that really bright white, which I prefer to use more of a off-white, I guess you could say. This is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to use a brush and a roller. It should take me, between waiting on the coats to dry, because that's the other good thing about chalk paint, it doesn't take very long for it to dry. So you can put another coat on within an hour, depending on how many coats you need for your project that you're doing. You can have it done. It's definitely a one-day project. In reality, it's a few hours project. I'm going to kind of time myself, and I'm going to really stick to coming back and checking to make sure the paint is dry and putting the second coat on. Because sometimes when I paint, what I do is I will put a coat on, go clean another room, come back a couple of hours later when I think about it, put another coat on. But I'm going to really try to time myself so that I can give you guys an idea of just about how long it will take to complete a project like a china cabinet. Of course, if you're doing something smaller, if you're doing something larger, but at the end of the day, chalk paint dries really, really fast. Okay, so guys, I'm not the neatest when it comes to painting. So, of course, I make sure I have something on that if I get paint on it, I'm not gonna have too much of a fit over it. So just gonna shake this paint up a little bit. And I'll tell you now, when I put the first coat on, I don't put a lot of, perfection into it, because I know I'm gonna put more coats of paint over it. I'm just kind of trying to get the first coat on, to kind of go over the color, the wood color or whatever it is I'm painting. So, always put the lid on, because, well, like I said, I am not the neatest person. And I have plastic on the floor here in front of me. I'll put that down there on top of the plastic. And I put some paint in here. And I'm using my brush to start out. And I had to decide, do I start inside or do I start outside? Okay guys, let me show you something. Obviously this is not my china cabinet finished. This is actually a primer that I put on the china cabinet. I use Kilt's primer that you can see sitting inside the china cabinet. And the reason I'm using this is because I painted a spot on the inside. If you can see at the very top, there's a piece of trim inside. And the wood color bled through. And I'm thinking that must have been a piece of cherry wood or something that they put there. But at any rate, it bled through. I'm glad I noticed it on the inside. So I did what most of us do. I ran to my phone, I pulled up Google, and I asked, what do I do about paint bleeding through? So I needed to use a primer. They suggested a couple of different primers. Fortunately, I had both that they suggested. And I'm familiar with Kilt's. So what I did is I decided to put the Kilt's all over and not take a chance on it bleeding through from the outside, because it didn't bleed through every place on the inside, just in a couple of spots. So I put Kilt's on it. So this is going to add a little extra time. It's going to add about an hour, and I will go over it with my chalk paint. If you guys decide to paint something, I suggest you find a spot, just test it out on a little spot, and wait a little bit, maybe an hour or so, to see if it bleeds through. Because if it does bleed through, then you're going to have to do like I did. You're going to have to get a primer, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the final view of the china cabinet. I still have to put the pulls on it. I want you guys to know that's what these little holes are. I haven't decided if I'm going to buy new ones or if I'm going to spray paint the old ones and put them back on. But, oh, and this little thing here, in case you guys are wondering, this is where I'll hang, I want to hang a wreath or something from here. So these are my little command hooks is what they are. So anyway, as you see, this is it. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, enjoyed my video. And if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell so that you will get a reminder every time I upload a new video. If you like the way the china cabinet turned out, or if you think this is something that you might try, leave me a comment below. And remember, you can also follow me on Instagram. I will put my username in the description box below. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.